Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to talk about uh, Lich Artillery Ballista here on April 1st today, and I'm pretty excited about the possibilities. Let's get into it right away. Um, we can go just from the top down. So the first two nodes here: increased maximum energy shield of 20% and crystalline phylactery. Can socket in one non-unique basic jewel, 100% increased effect of socketed jewels, 50% more mana cost if you have no energy shield. Everybody knows jewels are amazing. Non-unique jewels won't even be a problem because you know what? Uh, the regular jewels are fine. They work just fine. Um, Especially with the 100% increased effect on the socketed jewel. You only get one of them, but hey, you could get increased projectile damage. You could get increased fire damage. You could there's a whole plethora. You could get increased maximum reses. Uh, I'm sure you could probably find some max life on there. Who knows? Um, Next up is the small note of 30% increased energy shield if you've consumed a power charge recently. Um, and non The big note here is non-channeling spells consume power charges to deal 25% more damage. My goodness, that's actually pretty good. Too bad ours doesn't consume power charges, and it's not a spell. So this is pretty bad, but we might be able to work it in. You never know. It could be great. You just never know. The possibilities are endless as long as your mind is open. Um, and that's the bottom of that tree. So the next up is going to be Soulless Form. In the node before it looks like it's the same as this one right here. So still the energy shield if increased energy shield if you consumed a power charge recently. But anyway, Soulless Form. 10% of the damage taken bypasses energy shield. No inherent mana regeneration. Regenerate mana equal to 6% of your maximum life per second. I mean, you could solve your mana issues. Not that you're going to have a lot of life, especially even with this, it's really not going to be all that great. Eternal life, your life cannot change while you have energy shield. Okay, so that's the whole build right there. Like this node is the build. You don't need to go uber. You don't need to go cruel. You don't need to do anything. The first set of the Sekima, you're done. No, I'm just kidding. You can't reach this, but the cruel one. So you get this one, and then you go down here. You get Price of Power, or sorry, Soulless Form, just because you have to. This is, I mean, it's all right, but the goal here is obviously going to be Eternal Life. Like, and then you just stack the living crap out of Energy Shield and every possible Energy Shield you can find. Uh, the damage will figure itself out. To be honest, you're gonna live forever. Like literally no even point in discussing further, but we're going to. But like the fact that this is a thing is ridiculous. Excuse me. I'm gonna adjust myself in the chair here. You don't need the phylactery, but we'd probably take that one too. So these would be your three nodes, unless the phylactery just wouldn't matter. But like as long as you have energy shield, right? So like the downside's not even in effect right there. So you're honestly, it's just a no-brainer. Let's go down these other ones, even though they're probably going to be worthless compared to Eternal Life. Let's go to Necromantic Conduit. You and allies in your presence have Unholy Might, which is Unholy Might is a buff that grants 30% of all damage as extra chaos damage. You and allies in your presence have Unholy Might while you are not on low mana. Lose 5% of mana per second. That's not that great, in my opinion. I mean, nah. I mean, you could probably make it work if you instead wanted to run it as like just a chaos build instead. Somehow, if they brought up Black Flame as like the ring from PoE 1 that could convert your fire damage into chaos damage, it might be pretty freaking good. You never know. I mean, you could just ignite everything with fire damage, and or chaos damage, and go to town, everybody. Proliferate, even though Ignite Proliferate in the first part was horrible, and it kind of was part of the reason why I didn't really like playing the artillery ballista in the first place, other than the piss poor damage. But hey, that's okay. We're fixing that this patch. So we're good. Anyway, Eldritch Empowerment. Non-channeling spells cost an additional 3% of maximum energy shield. Non-channeling spells deal 30% more damage. Spending energy shield does not interpret. Yeah, that's what that says. Intercept. Why can't I read that? Interrupt. That's what that word is. Interrupt. Recharge. Hurt. Cool. I mean, honestly, that's pretty good. No joke, that's actually pretty good. Spells cost an additional 3% of maximum energy shield. Deal 30% more damage. This thing is crazy, actually. But it's just spending that doesn't interrupt energy shield recharge. I wish I could talk. 3% mana is the node here, and then 25% increased area of effect of curses. Dominion over flesh. You can apply an additional curse, and your curses can affect hexproof enemies. Okay, that's just the witch's occultist thing, so that's cool. And then Blackened Heart, 4% increased magnitude of unholy might buffs you grant per 100 mana. So mana stack to just absolutely to the moon your damage with your ballistas with that. But it'd have to be a completely separate build. You couldn't go that and the best node on this thing, which is gonna be Eternal Life. So you're mortal with this. You just go this. This is the build right here. Who are we joking? When you go Lich, you honestly do whatever you want. Really, like you just play whatever spell. Try and do your best to get to where you can do your second lab in around level 45, 50, whatever level it was. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, you just play this. This is your build. You're not an artillery ballista build. You're a Lich artillery ballista build. You're a Lich Eternal Life build. The damage doesn't even matter. You can tickle him to death. Every boss fight might take 1,000,000 years, but you're never going to die, so it won't matter. Anyway, okay. I think I've made my point. I've made it far enough into this. Obviously, this was an April Fool's joke. I don't actually plan on making a Lich Ascendancy Artillery Ballista build, though it may honestly work. Some of these nodes may possibly be able to facilitate that. I could see a way. Maybe. I mean, the problem is that Artillery Ballista is an attack skill, and obviously it doesn't really mesh well with this very much. But with like Phylactery node and a good attack jewel and Blackened Heart and Dominion over Flesh and then Necromantic Conduit, if you could solve the mana issue, all of those things, don't say they have to deal with solely spells. But sadly, to get to Blackened Heart, you need to go Eldritch Empowerment, which does nothing for us. If this was up here and this was down here, you could legitimately go a Lich Artillery Ballista build, I think. Like with Chaos damage as your main damage. But because this would be pulling a lot of weight, you'd probably be mana stacking as much as you could, which then you'd want to go Archmage, which is probably going to get gutted. But, I mean, barring that, you'd probably want to mana stack, and I'm sure somebody could come up with a meme type build. It would never actually work, but regardless, at least in my opinion, this wouldn't really work. But April Fools, I'm sure nobody was actually fooled. But if you were, leave me a like and sub for me. I'm actually making this video mainly because I wanted to thank everybody that just has seen my video before. I know that's kind of weird to say, but that was my first video and I made a few mistakes, and it's so far seems to have gotten the small amount of views it has gotten. It's gotten a good reception, and it definitely empowers me to want to continue doing this and to try and improve the craft and get better at it and make better content for all of you. And honestly, I've been trying to figure out ways in my life to get this to work, and it's always been kind of a pipe dream kind of thing to me, that I could ever successfully do YouTubing at all, just because, not necessarily shyness, but I never seeked out the stuff to do it. Like, over time, I acquired like a little webcam. It's worthless pretty much, but it works. I've had a couple mics over my time, and I've tried to stream here and there. I do have a Twitch stream. Zelric12 is my tag over there, but sorry to plug it. Anyway, that's just all to say that I appreciate everybody that's subbed and that wants to follow me, even though that video is pretty rough around the edges, and it means the world to me that you even watched and that you're even there and you stayed for any amount of time at all. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you have a great rest of your April Fool's Day, and yeah, peace.